Co-main event is going to be Matheus Nicolau versus Manel Kape. This is going to be actually the second time that they're fighting, so kind of a rematch, if you will. I think that right now, Matheus Nicolau, he is 19-3 and 1. I think that he's coming off of the loss against Brandon Royval there. He's fighting against Manel Kape, who is 19-6, and he's coming off of a decision victory against Felipe dos Santos, who's I believe he's like a young guy, so he came in a short notice, and Kape just kind of took care of business there. Yeah, I mean they're both kind of the same age. Their measurables are pretty similar as well. I think that the first fight, it was a split decision loss, right, for Manel Kape. So it was a close fight. They just fought like 3 years ago, actually. So this is going to be a rematch here. I mean, the odds for this fight right now, Manel Kape is minus 270, opened up at a minus 210. So, people think that Manel has improved a lot since then. May have Matheus Nicolau's number for this rematch. Let's start off with Nicolau. I think that Nicolau is a technical striker, good skill set in the ground as well. I think he's overall a very clean fighter. Likes to fight methodically, take his time. I think that his striking is clean and technical. Likes to pick his shots in the striking exchanges. Able to move in the cage pretty well. I think his style just tends to be very low volume, though, more low volume than other flyweights. His grappling is also good. He has good takedowns, good takedown defense. He lands 1.48 takedowns landed per 15 minutes, 45% takedown accuracy. And he also has a 93% takedown defense. So something is pretty cool there. He has a pretty good takedown defense. I also think that he's able to transition pretty well when he's on the ground, especially in top control, and stay there. He's one of those fighters that prefers to keep the position and does not hunt for subs too often. And this is reflected in his record. Only one submission victory in the UFC, 5 decision wins, right? So this guy is just like kind of like a computer, if you will, the AI, right? This guy fights very safe and clean. I think Kape's also a Manel Kape high-level striker. I actually think he has a fun style to watch when he just lets his kind of attacks go, right? He's really quick and fast with his attacks. He moves in the cage pretty quick as well. He can also play that game of picking his shots and setting up some really powerful shots, good feints. But he does have a tendency to sometimes get into low volume exchanges as well. I think Kape is also a decent wrestler. I think when he implements his game plan, he actually does do pretty well there. But I feel like he likes to work more so in the clinch and set up some dirty boxing or Muay Thai strikes instead. Unfortunately, I feel like this fight is going to be a snooze fest. I feel like both guys are going to be too patient with their approach, looking to counter each other. It's going to be a mostly striking matchup, and I see Kape just being a little bit more aggressive. So for now, I'll lean towards Kape. I think that his shots will land with more power as opposed to Nicolau's shots, which will sway the judges. And I feel like momentum is definitely on his side as well. He's been doing pretty well in his last few fights. Matheus Nicolau is coming off of that, knockout loss, right, against Brandon Royval. So, I mean, both these guys are kind of going different directions in their trajectories of their career. And I'm going with Kape here. I'll say Kape by decision, but I'm just not that confident because he did lose against Nicolau 3 years ago via split decision. So it was a close fight, but I'm probably just going to stay away and watch this fight. Jar, what's your thoughts on Matheus Nicolau and Manel Kape here?
So Matheus, Nicolau has a pretty good counter striking. I noticed that a lot of times he's kind of fighting on the back foot, and then he catches fighters by surprise when he goes for his shots. And like you said, he's super patient, picks his shots. Like their first fight, I think an uneventful pace unfortunately, if I think that favors Nicolau if it go to like an uneventful snooze fest decision. I think that type of fight would lean towards Nicolau, and I don't want to see that because I'm going on Manel. I'm going on Manel. I like Manel. He has that. I think his bravado has to match the the fight. If he talks all this game, all these press conferences, just to have a snooze fest with a rematch with Nicolau, who he already lost to, that he would be one of the most hated people ever, talking all that, all that shit. So, I mean, I like Manel Kape here. Um, he also has good counter striking, and when I watch him, he almost looks like he's seeing things in slow motion at times, and he's like kind of in that Matrix mode, and he's moving like the chosen one. That's why he dances a lot at times and showboats a little bit in his fights. He has that confidence, but unfortunately, when he faces Nicolau in that first round, he was that wasn't the case. His bravado wasn't there. He was overly cautious, and he was on the back foot against Nicolau in that first round. And I was confused when I was watching that. I was like, "What is going on?" Even though I already knew Nicolau won that, but that was a weird thing to see coming from Manel Kape. And man, Manel Kape, he looks great when he decides to pressure. And in that first fight, he should have pressured more, like how he did in his most recent fights. Um, and he could have won that fight against Nicolau. I think he had the better striking exchanges in their last fight, but the judges gave it to Nicolau, who was able to counter with some takedowns and use some of those counter offense where he's not aggressive. He's like you said, he's like a computer. He's like an AI fighter. And this fight, I'm looking for Manel Kape to finally match that bravado of his, because he needs this big highlight finish against Nicolau to get that big title shot. And being the smart guy and knowing his position in the UFC right now, I think he knows that he should look to find the finish against Nicolau to really supplant his name in in the division. So yeah, my pick here is Kape, and I think he should. I'm hoping that he's looking for the finish because I got him getting the finish against Nicolau in this fight. So that's my pick.
How confident are you in that pick? Are you, you know, willing to shell out some units for this guy? Parlay piece, like how
Yeah,
confident do you feel?
yeah, he's one of my parlay pieces. Manel Kape's one of yeah.
Godspeed. I mean, yeah, I like Top too. I feel like he's one of the best trash talkers in the UFC right now. I mean, I've been telling people about this. Just check out this guy's Twitter. It is like this guy is wild. So I mean, I really like how he kind of gets into the heads of his opponents. So I'm rooting for him. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm just excited to see how this fight goes. But if it's at all is like a snooze fest, then I might tune out. I don't know. Yeah, watching that first fight, it just was not that good of a fight.